Welcome back, OGN Legion, and this might be one of the longest nights we've had so far this season. I know there was a comically long one earlier, which is skewing those stats just a little bit, but there's been one heck of a night already, and SKT have brought us to a game number 3. Bang doing a hell of a lot of damage.
Back-to-back 6-game nights in the LCK, and this one is cutthroat. This one is all about SKT's playoff hopes and BBQ trying to avoid the playoff no one wants to be in, the relegation playoff happening after the grand final of the LCK. I think Bang was the big player here. He was so flawless on the Xayah. See if he actually does pick up the nod, or the voters have other ideas. It's going to be Bang.
There it is, Bang. 600 points now. Still shy of that top spot, but really getting up there. SKT 5-0 and 6. The KDA once again getting pumped up, and it's pretty good.
Had to play with absolute focus to not die in all these fights. The silences and other interrupts, denying the value out of the Skarner that looked pretty curious as an early pick in the end by BBQ, and the Xayah Rakan was denied. That meant the game went down a very interesting and winding path. The Xayah ended up holding more value than the Rakan. The Rakan did lead to the bait that allowed the game to stall out a little bit from the side of SKT, because this is when BBQ were way ahead. And every extra moment was very relevant when we got to ultra late game territory later in the piece.
Yeah, this is just the chase down and destruction. It's quite late in the series though. This BBQ certainly did have some good moments leading up to this.
Oh, great play by Tal to start this one off, and there were a couple of moments like this when we started to fully appreciate that Gangplank Caston were going to make it happen after so many extra variables thrown in, with items being different than expected, with the Xayah Rakan being separated. It seemed pretty clear from here that if it could end up being those sort of fights, SKT would eventually take the win. But almost all the neutrals were going the way of BBQ. So in one fell swoop, they were able to get the big pick. Good play by Blank there. Get on to Tempt. He died first, and then it was too easy to run down the front line. Super tense game between BBQ and SKT for game number 2. But we get the bonus best of 1 to understand who will go on further, and it's so hard to tell. Feels like this series has been weird and wonderful on a night that has been weird and wonderful. And who knows, there's curveballs to be thrown by both BBQ and SKT.
Yeah, and it's like we've basically got the closest series ever from what feels like shouldn't be one of those. You know, we had first off MVP looking way better than Kongdu going into that series, and then it was 3 games down to the wire, and now once again BBQ really handing it to SKT. An epic game 1, an even more epic game 2, and we just don't know what to expect from game number 3.
A lot of people joining us here, still live at 11:36 p.m. local time. We will hit picks and bans. Gonna go into the wee hours. Would you rather be than joining us for some epic Korean League of Legends, super high stakes match in both directions. No subs, no Bono for the final game. Just one more game between BBQ and SK Telecom T1.
Yep, Tal is going to be staying towards the top side of the map, and Blank not going to be replaced by Blossom this time either, but SKT, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. It's the Camille going to be a little bit of change up for ban number 1. It was the Sion taken away by SKT on the blue side in game number 1.
We've surprisingly gone red side 2 games in a row after being blue side focused both in win rate and in recent times. For SKT and BBQ, Sion, Xayah, Olaf were the bans on blue side. For SKT, what feels like an age ago in game number 1.
Certainly was a long time, but the Sion once again going to be picked up, and Galio answered as well. BBQ's bans relatively understandable, as we've had red side victories so far in this particular series, which is odd, given the fact that both of these teams do favor blue side as far as their wins are concerned.
And do BBQ play with fire? Because Olaf is available, and Blank has been playing in solo queue. They do. As the Olaf is open here for SKT, they could just jump on Sejuani. That's been a big pick. I would personally love to see Blank jump onto the Olaf that previously was looking good for them.
Will mean that Blank will have to play proactively. And once again, Caitlyn looking to be that first lock-in. It was where all the priority went in game number 1. First picked over there as well, but BBQ had a lot of options that they could then go into.
They're kind of telegraphing Caitlyn, Thresh, Azir as the first round for SKT, and maybe one of those champions halted to pick up a jungler. Seeing what BBQ prize, the Azir will be taken away, I imagine.
There is another option here.
They'll have to first round Kassadin with SKT. This may still happen. It has been Faker's go-to.
Wow, and Skarner once again? That's
They
going to be
go
the
for it
option.
anyway,
for
very
BBQ.
interesting. That's a surprise to see them go for Skarner when in the same scenario 2 games ago, it was Sejuani at that pick.
Well, Sejuani once again going to be looked at here for blank. As what do BBQ now change up to make this composition work as we get to the hyper late game? Remember, BBQ did have a lot of control in game number 2. But Kassadin, understandably, going to be picked up once again for FLICKR. And now is the Sejuani prioritized, or do they want that Thresh that you were talking about?
These are the questions that Homa and the rest of SKT need to answer. I think Sejuani is what you take here and have to deal with there being a ban to the most relevant range supporters. Olaf will be taken. All right, they're going to go for it. Finally, we see Blank's Olaf. He's been practicing in solo queue. They ignore the Sejuani and want the ability to invade onto Trick.
Ghost once again going to pick up the Tristana, so now the support pool is going to be heavily pinched as we move into the next round. Top lane, still a smorgasbord of champions. Theoretically, the Ryze, but the Scion and the Camille both already taken away. But that is not too many. Still things like the Cho'Gath are crazy to hop onto. Carl, lots of options.
2 ways to approach this for BBQ. You can counterpick support and allow Ignar to go full Ignar and show us something weird and wonderful at final pick. Or counterpick Tal. As Tal will probably just jump on the gangplank if he's forced to blind pick, if I was to be a betting man.
Well, the Cho'Gath going to be looked at first. Crazy was able to create a fantastic laning phase. Game number 1. Crazy could also go towards the gangplank to try and deny that one, yeah. But
could just ban gangplank and lock in Gnar. That's a possibility.
Leave the Thresh and Alistar both available for Wolf if he wants to head either way.
Let's see what the decision is here by BBQ. Again, a lot of ways to read this. They do ban the gangplank, which to me suggests Crazy might be jumping on the Gnar.
Oh, and does Ignar just grab the Thresh just to make sure that they can get some priority? And no, he's not, but that's exactly what SKT had predicted as well.
I think they have to take Gnar and counterpick support, otherwise it's going to be Caitlyn and a winning support in bot lane, which is really tricky when Skarner can't babysit. So they're thinking about just taking the Braum for power, as we're just trolling now, Ghost.
Ornn is another option we saw in our series prior. Massive priority and certainly a flex onto the bottom side as well.
So they are going to flex support. It's probably going to be top lane Ornn if I'm a betting man, in case they get a very easy matchup. But they desperately need a winning support matchup to stop the Tristana just being at the whim of the Caitlyn.
Yeah. What does winning support matchup mean when you're an Ornn? I'm not entirely sure.
Bang's doing a lot more hovers than I'm used to. The Amumu's gone, sadly, from the old Cloud Templar troll days.
Yep, 3 seconds to go, and it's going to be the Braum. Pretty standard stuff with the Caitlyn alongside.
And, of course, the answer to Ornn when it comes to the use of the Call of the Forge God.
Yeah, whether he's top lane or support as well. It doesn't matter whether it's going to be in lane.
It's a clean answer there for the side of SKT. Now, Skarner coming in and trying to... for the suppression might help, as there's going to be a blind pick top lane Cassiopeia. We mentioned that Tal has been playing it in solo queue, and he's willing to blind pick top lane Cassia.
What the heck? Okay. She is certainly going to have push advantage against a lot of things. She is a bully. But the Snake to be picked up against BBQ Olivers for the final game. It all comes down to Cassiopeia top in the end.
What it's going to mean for BBQ, they have a lot of things to think about. They're going to go with the Ornn top lane anyway. Very, very sustained and can get through. And it's going to be Tristana Rakan again. All right, well, we're taking big risks here on both sides. Cassiopeia has a strong laning phase. Skarner comes in, jukes the ultimate, then the Cassio's going to be dead. But the scaling is massive for the side of SKT. Both champions loving the new Archangels. Like heavy on the mana stacking. BBQ pull the trigger on the Rakan Tristana lane 2 games in a row. Even after it wasn't able to get them over the line, it is a heavily losing lane to Caitlyn and Braum. So when you look at the matchups, Azir may have the push on Kassadin, but I feel like you can play around bot side and top side when you're the Olaf and start to invade. And there's not so many options here for BBQ. So we said weird and wonderful. This one errs very much on the weird for me when I look at BBQ. And SKT may be taking Couple of risks when it comes to the Cassio top that Tal has been loving in solo queue, but her 1v1 power, jungler be damned, is very high.
Rakan picked up instead of Alistair, just blew my mind though. Just not sure why Ignar would make that decision. Hopefully he shows us exactly why with some of the options that he will have instead. But man, Papa Smithy, you're right. It is erring on the side of weird. It's weird on SKT's side as well. Top lane Cassiopeia hasn't been a thing for quite some time, but she certainly feels great when you can build the Seraph's Embrace.
And it's a best of one, largely for a lot of SKT's playoff hopes. They're not out if they lose, but it starts to feel that way if you're SKT.
Yep, and BBQ are staring down that barrel of promotion so long. But guys, let's do it. Let's get into the deciding Game 3. Well, even if there aren't as many of them, the BBQ fans still very passionate at getting their team across the line. SKT fanship dominating the Seoul East Stadium tonight, and everyone staying out. We're very close to midnight. Hopefully no one's going to turn into a pumpkin.
And I think it's something that we should talk about a little bit more is, of course, the games start here a lot later than in NA and EU, starting at 5 p.m. Korean Standard Time. We also have the fixed starting time of 8 p.m. for our second series, ended up being 9 here. As the first series went long, remember that a lot of these fans are, students. They don't obviously have a lot of income. Staying till, 12:30, 1 a.m. It's going to be pretty expensive to get home. So for about 300 and plus people to stick around, shows a lot of fandom, a lot of die-hard nature. So it's great to have the fans here to support their teams, their own financial expense. No public transport after 12 p.m. here.
Yeah, and a few actually had filtered out, but still so many hanging around. So like you say, everyone dedicated, seeing their team win.
Thank you to everyone who's been around for the entire stream, because it has been, again, 2 back-to-back 6-game days. This one probably the most important when it comes to a best of one, given what it represents for SKT. If they win, they go ahead of Rox Tigers on head-to-head into 5th spot, with pretty similar strength of schedule in the final 3 matches. So they'll be half an inch ahead, you would say, overall. If they lose, it's much trickier for the side of SKT. But when it comes to pick and ban, even though, as you say, you look at the Tal on the Cassio and say, don't know about that one. It was a blind pick Cassio. Cassio has a very strong laning phase against most traditional melee champions. They bet on it being the Orin top lane, and they were rewarded in that. So that was the calculation made, and I'm surprised to see BBQ roll back the Rakan Tristana lane, which was a takeaway in Series 1, but just a actual draft here in Series number 3.
Yeah, with the Alistair available, which is the hugest deal for me. We're at quite a few bans, but okay, we'll see whether it's going to work. Not going to judge Ignar until he's shown us exactly what he's picked this one for. Level 3 for Tal, Miasma going down. This Tal will have control of this lane. It's not like a lot of Ornn matchups that feel okay to be the Ornn. This is probably just going to feel bad all the time.
Now, when it comes to top lane tanks with initiation, it is one of the safer ones to run in. When it comes to the Ornn with the ability to negate a lot of damage with the Bellows Breath W. So for at least the early laning phase, can inch together some items, has the Biscuiteer, he's just trying to survive. And we'll see when the inevitable jungle attention comes, because it's Cassiopeia in a long lane. We know how that goes, Atlas.
Oh yeah. Not going to be a whole lot of fun for the Snake Lady unless she's at the Fed stage where she can just kill everyone, which does happen from time to time.
Has Phase Rush, so the potential, if she's hitting the spells, to ignore the Fracture and be able to disengage relatively speedily.
Has been certainly something that could help. Crazy now with a full minion wave. Going to be shoving up, and you can see CS parity to come in, but a lot more to pick up for Tal.
Gonna have to be an adaptive Helm early. Could try to go Abyssal Mask, doesn't have the same protection against Cassiopeia in general with her Twin Fang spam, as his junglers meeting.
Yeah, Trick gonna be discovered on the ward.
I don't think he knows that Blank knows here, so Trick could be in trouble.
Okay, Crazy Now going to get caught out of position. Gets himself underneath the turret, but does have to use the flash. Wow, I'm not sure how that even hit Blank, but still just going to be crazy going back. Early teleport to come in. Thankfully, Molten Forge is going to be able to make him some items, so the back timing not going to be too much of a problem because he's on.
It seems like it will be Catalyst's first item, just to that extra effect of healing when you use mana, with Bellows Breath giving permanent health, but also the temporary health. So tense is this game.
Whole series been tense the whole time. You can see BBQ actually with some pushing power on the bottom side. Added sustain coming in with the Gleaming Quill is something I've never spoken about, but looked actually helpful right there as Tempt pushing out FLICKR.
Wonder how Tempt rolls back and thinks about going for the Catalyst first on the Azir. Again, it seemed to work very well in the early game where he could take more aggressive roams bottom top and not just have to take the most defensive way back to lane, not wanting to get chunked out for 300 damage or so with one rotation from FLICKR.
Yep, teleport from FLICKR gets him back into the mid lane, and it's his item of choice to come in with the Negatron Cloak. Cape and a shield. Kassadan's feeling okay.
And of course it was Huni on the top lane. Cassio last time out was a victory for Cassio.
You certainly know that. It's the Lucian top for one of the first times that we've actually seen it on the top side of the map.
Huni got the victory on the Cassio and the Lucian when he was in Korea, so he did his job, he could leave.
Yep, he did the Huni things. We got what we paid for. I hope you have a good time, Huni.
He's missed. We do miss having Huni around. Always a very entertaining guy to talk to before the series starts.
We have a feeling that SKT might miss him as well.
There's some people who have false bravado. Huni just has bravado.
Yes, he does. And some of the weirdest OGM videos ever. The Detective Huni was
If you haven't seen
the
it, definitely Google that one. That was a legendary video from OGN around Summer Finals last year.
Extremely good.
And it seems like, yep, Azir's going to roll it back. Seems to be a Tempt special. Again, first time we've seen Abyssal Mask rush. Abyssal Mask, Nashers into situational was the way Tempt went.
Would have also liked Rod of Ages. That would have been funny. Winter's Bite. A few levels in it. Now going to hurt Ignar, but Battle Dance over onto Ghost just to try and help him win these trades. He's not losing. Things are actually going pretty well here for BBQ on the bottom side, and what I mentioned earlier, a largely winning matchup. Satchel Charge coming in. My personal favorite Tristana skin as well, which is probably why Ghost is doing well. Firefighter is one of my faves.
Yeah, without the Thresh, you see Bang not taking as aggressive trades with the Braum. I do think of Braum as a very strong laner, but it's not working. It's in the mid lane.
Yeah, Riftwalk comes in and Trick just picks it up. The coolest game of tennis I've seen for a long time, and that's First Blood.
That was really nicely played. The Predator was popped late, no ability to see that one coming. Outplayed by Tempt. We said this guy is good. You get to see it now.
He was waiting for that Riftwalk and instantly just delivered to Trick. Oh my god.
That's an alley-oop and a half.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I went with tennis, but I think you're right. Basketball was probably the reference.
I would have accepted volleyball, by the way. Get to see the replay. Like you say, he knows exactly what he's doing. He knows the soldier position. There's Trick. FLICKR uses flash, but no ability to get out from that one. Does die from the auto attack following.
And actually, no, it was tennis, because he sets up the net, which is the line of soldiers, and then he uses FLICKR as the ball. Just throws him over. I'm still okay with the tennis reference.
This game has gone better than expected for the side of BBQ. Like you say, the bot lane, with the Thresh being removed, Bangs being a little bit less relentless, and there hasn't been the roams down to try to deny. So, pass marks there for Tristana Rakan. Again, a super mismatched lane in many different ways. Usually, Caitlyn and Tristana just means the 20 CS lead, but not seeing that in this game.
One thing I'd actually like to see out of Crazy is to go Abyssal Mask into Adaptive Helm straight afterwards. The double magic resist, probably a good idea this game.
I think it's almost inevitable because Caitlyn has the Trough damage in the mid game, so...
I don't know whether that was what you mentioned earlier. I know you mentioned Adaptive Helm already, but thought maybe that was opted in as item number 1 because it's so good against Cassiopeia, but I still like the Abyssal Mask first.
I think Catalyst is just what you have to build, and then you have a bit more option from there. So we'll wait and see, but I think eventually, yes, both items will come, especially against double AP. Trick walks over.
Static Shiv rush from Bang.
Yeah, just
try and
straight
keep
up.
The wave push, yeah.
It's actually really difficult to last hit with the Shiv Rush, because you are very, very low in AD. They know this is happening. Azir walks over, but probably going to be granted to BBQ.
Yeah. Trick pretty happy that it's a Cloud Drake, not going to beat the hell out of him. Like the Ocean did earlier on, although that was on the side of Blank.
He even holds onto his smite as well as they're looking in the mid lane.
Yeah, FLICKR should be able to get himself out. Attempt once again. It's not going to be Rod of Ages this time. It's going to be once again the Abyssal Mask. So happy to face check.
Notice that Olaf has been pretty defensive on his play. So when it comes to the people that we thought would go aggressive, which were Caitlyn in the 2v2 against Tristana, and the Olaf largely around top side because it's Cassiopeia in lane, we haven't seen any invades. It's been a farming Olaf, and only gank was a very creative one, but positive for Trick, as we do see Blank calling on a ward.
Yep, know exactly what's going on there. Back's now going to come in from Tal as well. He's got his tier stacking up, wanting to build towards his Archangel Staff as quickly as possible. Now an opportunity given to Crazy to pick up some more. Abyssal Mask will be done very, very soon. We'll see whether this means that the lane is just going to get easier and easier, or as the Cassiopeia scales, it's going to get harder and harder. Okay, that was very quick.
Goes for a very fast Remnant of the Watchers. This is something that I expected to see more of on patch 8.4. I know when I was playing on 8.4, a lot of top lane cannon making an item like this and going for the gold generation, then being able to have the Sightstone effect and take into the sweeper. Access to extra sweeper is so difficult. SKT were a team where FLICKR would always turn to sweeper on first back on basically every champion. That was the way they played. It's a nice little trade from Crazy.
Yep, Tal's in trouble. Call of the Forge God coming down as the Petrifying Gaze goes wide. Crazy holding the timing really nicely on that. And with the ult down, Tal's diveable.
Definitely. Very, very squishy. He only has the health from the Remnant of the Watchers, but Trick's not going to walk up and look for that dive.
Ooh, I was scared. I thought he might have actually opted in for it. He's going for the Merc Treads. It's Crazy. Just hops into the forest and builds himself some items. Molten Forge is very, very handy.
Caitlyn takes the time to go for an earlier back to get some AD, gets a pickaxe, and hooks away to, well, it's a pretty standard 2-item spike.
Yep. For his peace of mind. Got a very early Berserker's Greaves coming in from Ghost here as well.
Boots
Managed
2.
to get the BF Sword Rush.
And Boots 2 makes a lot of sense when you want to sidestep an ability, whether it's the Piltover Peacemaker or...
Useful if you're getting
Prompt you.
outranged as well to have a bit more movement speed.
Absolutely. Outranging will happen till a long time in the game. When it comes to Tal, going to pick up the Sightstone Gold generation on the Remnant of the Watchers, try to turn it into Eye of the Watchers. Probably not going to be a Rod of Ages in this build, so going to be temporarily tanky with the Overshield.
Likely to have a Rylai's Crystal Scepter as well, I assume. Unless he's going to go Liandry's and Zhonya's, things like that instead.
You have a chance to look at his solo queue. Liandry's pretty early and Zhonya's for the player making. It's the way he goes there. Pretty situational though.
Yeah, I was actually checking it out, and I personally like Rylai's a lot, just because it got flat 10 extra AP buffed. That feels great. But yes, wants to utilize new Liandry's.
Cassio is still frustrated that no longer is there the benefit of having single target spells. Vlad and Cassio were able to get the most value out of the Q and E respectively. Invading here, but who's getting flanked by who?
Ignar once again setting himself up the Ignar way. Fracture misses, so Trick flashes to get out of the way. Sand Soldier's coming in. Attempts to remember, he doesn't have a lot of damage. Oh, gets on top of FLICKR. He's got Riftwalk, but he gets pulled back. The rocket jump comes in. He's so far away from his base as Ghost flashes in, grabs the kill, and FLICKR 100% of the deaths.
They take 3 flashes here. Is it worth it? My first instinct is no. Go 3 for 1 in the flash trade. They do get the kill. They push through mid lane. Getting the turret would be the equalizer, but unable to do so. Olaf with decent wave clear, especially for a jungler. They can take the turret, then it's worth. Otherwise, just trying to hold down FLICKR, and we know that makes him mad as well.
Yeah. This does just feel like one of those MSI games, you know, when you've got Dumbledore running into the mid lane on Janna at level 2. Trying to kill FLICKR, because killing FLICKR is the thing that you want to do. Can a god bleed? There's Bang. He's proving himself as one as well, as Ghost holds onto the heal, knows that it's not quite enough to kill with only a pickaxe.
But he's forced out of lane.
Yeah, straight out.
Forced out of lane, and no real way to stop this turret from falling desperately low. It might actually be lost on this push. In fact, your first thought is it will be.
Well, that minion wave just needs to conga line its way up. Tempt is moving down here as well, as Ignar is going to certainly beat Ghost down to this lane. They're desperately trying to hold on to this one. Means that full minion wave should actually fall down.
They do draw the Azir, so causes FLICKR to go back into lane. Desperately doing this, Tristana going to mid lane to answer it, so a temporary lane swap.
Yeah, a revenge opportunity for FLICKR as well, although he doesn't have his flash. Ignite is there. If he gets a full round off the Ghost, he's not going to feel great about it. Tempt actually popping down, so we've got a cute little swap.
Do notice that Tempt has magic resist heavily in the build, so on the most combat stats.
Well, they should be able to get a Ragnarok here, and yeah, Blank is going to throw it down. An opportunity lost to use that over the next minute or so.
Of course, the smite when it comes to the Rift Scuttle as Infernal spawns in 27 seconds, and predictably, BBQ run at FLICKR and hope to kill him again.
Yeah, Trick pops the Predator and makes him look like the most desperate.
But that does mean they're pushing in mid lane against a Kassadin with a Tristana, who can walk up and try and get first turret here. Here's the race on, but even Emperor's Divide could be used.
We'll see whether he actually does push them out. The minions are going to die as FLICKR. Not an opportunity there as Wolf tried a little bit too hard to get Tempt out of the way, and Tempt's not too worried about it, understanding that he is tankier than most Azirs normally are.
I'm going to pick up more farm through all of it because he has the extra range compared to Kassadin, Qs and Es, and hopes for the best. Does this mean Infernal as well?
Well,
gonna be the start.
They put in the early time to grab the Cloud Drake.
Ragnarok's still on cooldown.
Yeah, that is a huge deal. We've got Impale available from Trick now as well.
Walks up for the steal.
Yeah, Blank not going to be able to get it. Glacial Fissure comes down. Tempt off to the side, maybe in the wrong place, but Battle Dance gets Tempt out of the way as Crazy gets the knock-up once again, going for more aggressive plays. Crazy is on something else today, Papa Smithy.
He's on the Orin when it comes to this game, and that allows him to continue to play this playstyle of making the Cassiopeia accountable, and for now just ignoring damage. Orin is so good at patchworking with his passive that the item advantages that would be there for other champions just aren't there because he's always outpacing you with extra magic resist, with extra options. Does he go into the adaptive helm that we were expecting or start building armor? Arguments for both.
Depends, I guess, where he sees the state of the game over the next few minutes.
Adaptive helm is going to be the way with
Looks
the
like the option. He's got a lot of things to put over his head. Maybe he's feeling a little bit self-conscious today.
Double control ward, and also the Spire control on top side as Tristana is, again, in a way better place than you'd imagine. There's finally a CS lead, but nothing for her to be too depressed about, and a kill to answer a lot of the gold.
Yeah. BF Sword Shiv as well. I mean, this is a great place for a Tristana. You can stand under a turret and clear it out pretty quickly. No one can take turrets around you as Tal easily takes down the blue buff. He's going to be fighting FLICKR for it.
Does mean they have a blue buff around what is now going to turn into a Rift Herald fight.
A 5-man Rift Herald take here from BBQ is something that I haven't seen for a very long time, and that's the back coming in from FLICKR. The teleport's going to be too late. So they are going to take that one down, deliver it over to Trick. FLICKR not going to invest the summoner.
SKT are really behind the play. You almost never see this with the Olaf, but Blank has been unable to push in with waves, and now we have Olaf watching. Kassadin was in the bot lane, not even going for the blue buff because Tal was in the area. But yeah, because it was a full collapse, what could have been FLICKR backing, teleporting in, didn't work because the objective was already dead. So BBQ have been very decisive in their rotations so far and surprising SKT.
Well, Blank is going to come up. You can see the Cloud Drake actually doing some work here for BBQ, trying to get out of the way of Olaf. Being able to run faster than Olaf is probably one of the best feelings ever, until he hits you with an axe, and then it's just impossible.
Olaf is also very squishy. Probably going to be the Knight's Vow as his first item here.
Unless he goes for the Blank special, where he has just been rushing Warmock's second item every time.
Could be.
But I do like Knight's Vow. Build up the Bang, give him more opportunities, and also allow Bang to heal him. Certainly good. We'll see where Ignar goes, whether it is, once again, looks like Jig's Convergence will be the option as Ghost, not sure how the Winter's Bite missed. Tristana, very small.
Happily trading CS, but Olaf trolling around to try to make the Rakan more accountable.
I think this is important, the fact that it's a 0-0-0 Olaf at almost 20 minutes into the game. You mentioned Blank being aggressive early, he's got a Skirmishes Saber, matching that of Trick. The Trick's 1-0-1. The Olaf hasn't found the options. so far in this game.
Because he doesn't have a Varus to shut down or an Ashe, which of course is the free food for Olaf in a team fight. Mobile mid laner, mobile AD carries the two threats. He kind of needs Kassadin to be next to him to make his dive actually mean something. He needs the Kassadin to have the damage that Olaf can't bring. There's no way to peel away a Kassadin at level 16 and an Olaf running at you, but that's just not what's happening this game. This game is playing at a fast pace. Temp walks up to FLICKR, gets a couple of autos, but no more.
They're just chasing him down. Rift Walk going to be used to allow him to escape, but Blank, he's a little bit off to the side. Rift Herald was utilized to take down that top outer turret. Not going to try and get Shelly any more action.
And it's a turret lead against a Caitlyn comp. That's also big.
Okay, that's the flash and the stand behind me to get Trick out of the way. They are respecting the Impale possibility. Ball of the Forge God comes down. FLICKR's going to get knocked up. Ragnarok is actually invested into this fight, and BBQ might now have an opportunity in the mid lane.
Teleport cancelled by the Cassiopeia. Still going to walk up. Seems like SKT communication is getting a bit all over the place when it comes to making defensive plays. Can they afford to hold on to a summoner? Do they have to use it? Braum had to flash away. Ignar, always behind enemy lines. All he knows.
Yep. Needs to be off on some sort of flank at every moment possible. The spellbook going to allow him to possibly do that with a teleport later on, which seemed like the most ultimate buff to Ignar.
About running on Baron. They have good Baron damage with the Cassiopeia. We always talk about that when it's a mid lane Cassio. So while Kassadin not known for his Baron speed, Cassiopeia now with the Liandry's in a great spot to threaten it.
It's not the time where they really want to be going for it though, because Bang, you can see so close to the QSS. Once he gets it, then maybe Bang can get himself into a dangerous position, but right now has to respect Trick with the Predator.
Look crazy. He actually went for the fastest possible Ornn item and upgraded his Abyssal Mask. And that means he just did it for more magic-resistant health. So it's just about spending 1,000 gold to have immediate power, hoping to find a fight. That does actually end up delaying the next item. And while you might say, okay, but he has cost-effective magic-resistant health, do consider that
Adaptive Helm is just so good.
And it's about the passive, right? You pay for the extra abilities that items provide. So it does mean that his 1,000 gold relative to the other options is not going to be as ideally spent. Not going to matter at 50 minutes, but 21 minutes, something to talk about.
Yeah, another thing to talk about is Tempt completing the Nash's Tooth and the fact that we do have the Warmogs coming in for Trick. Not going to have the passive quite built up just yet, unless he's got an Elixir running or something like that.
FLICKR is far behind in terms of effective items now, and BBQ want to fight now. That's what that 1,000 gold suggests. It's Nash's Tooth and Abyssal Master, not even an Archangel's on FLICKR. So right now, when it comes to immediate power, it's a bigger gold lead than 36.2k suggests. And this is the second Infernal. That needs to find a way to steal this, otherwise even more scaling to the side of BBQ.
Yeah, the third dragon in a row for BBQ as well, as it's down to half health. Trick is going to go down to half, and FLICKR wants to try and find his flank. Wolf over to the side as Ghost jumps over. Wolf in a lot of trouble. That's the first dragon going over to SKT, but the quickness comes down. They're looking for it from Ignar. He just explodes, but Wolf is going to be traded. It is support for support, but FLICKR's still alive. Ghost gets delivered an ace in the hole and gets very annoyed at 10.
Consider that BBQ can run through mid lane and try to do turret damage. Kassadin's going to get there first, and maybe it doesn't matter. The Sun turret goes down. Trade of supports. Domino wasn't available for Wolf, so the flash is going to be there for a longer time. See, Tristana walk to top side. Always a chance you see a fallback Baron for both teams, given that Azir and Tristana also great Baron takers. 22 minutes in, we are no closer to knowing who will win this all-important series between BBQ and SKT.
Yeah. Also another one of those tricky questions when it comes to scaling and late game and things like that, is the teamfight composition seems a little bit easier to run for BBQ, but FLICKR's on Kassadin. We've got a Cassiopeia in the game as well. And Caitlyn does ridiculous things with 6 items. And I love it. I think it's so much more exciting when you don't necessarily know where the power lies. You don't necessarily know how your teams are going to match up, but you know exactly what you want to do and what you're trying to do in these fights.
Feels like Cassio and Kassadin, despite having very similar names, have a pretty difficult time when it comes to, a pretty different time when it comes to late game fights, where Cassio very prone to being just tied up by a Rakan into the rest of the initiation and dying in the middle of a fight. Archangels be damned, whereas Kassadin does Kassadin things at 6 items. The late game is still pretty far. Archangels now complete, but FLICKR is still building, still gathering Storm as the rune is going to be definitely taken onto FLICKR. He does not go for the precision tree, doesn't go into presence of mind on the Kassadin so that he can go into the Gathering Storm. But it means that BBQ are stronger now. And given it's 8.4, usually the now means much more than the soon. So we'll see if BBQ can use the power they have now to actually take the big objective, which to me is that Baron.
Well, I feel like Crazy, he's in a great spot. The Adaptive Helm just being completed means that they want to start fights when the Caitlyn isn't the damage that he needs to be worried about. His frontline ability is going to be nutty.
Oh, he is the most unkillable in this game to magic damage.
Well, Trick is going to move his way over. They have actually started. Yeah, the two-man Baron coming in.
What's happening, though, because he walked over Vision.
We got 3 members in the mid lane. Now Blank's going to turn up. Okay, the 2 members have now been spotted out in the pit. There's now Trick. He could be in trouble. Flashes his way over. They do group up with the team. Ghost just straight up kills Bang. All right. Thankfully, Wolf is going to stop Call of the Forge God, so the follow-up engage isn't there. But FLICKR, once again, Rift walking over, and Ghost is just so strong.
I don't think they have enough damage to win a fight here unless Cassiopeia can be the big carry. So they're going to take control, 3 control wards. They're back onto the Baron. Crazy can take it for days. What does SKT do?
Yeah, Ignar is just gatekeeping right now. It's not taking as much damage as they'd otherwise like. Miasma not in a brilliant position, but SKT get themselves over. There's the delivery, is jumping into the back line. Trick able to lock down the Cassiopeia. We knew one of them was going to die as FLICKR. It's just going to burn to death by Ignar, and Ghost wants kill after kill.
It's Baron time. Atlas, they got the kills they wanted. Nice turn by Temp to invest his flash. Bang might be speeding from base, not going to be fast enough. This is Baron, BBQ.
Yep, he should never have even died. I don't understand how that even happened. We'll see whether it was just a sick Ghost outplay as Baron once again for BBQ is going to be locked down. They've got first and second Baron every single time in this series.
Let's go all the way over here and consider what happened. That's the initial burst, and then Ghost had plenty of wheat picks this morning. Just assassinates him in the back line. Those are the big brass balls we sometimes talk about, and that gets them the Baron.
This is a different Ghost as well. I mean, we've seen him in series against far lesser teams, not playing like that, not understanding his damage windows. This time against Bang, the highest KDA by a massive margin in the LCK, just jumps on him and he's dead. Unbelievable.
I mean, Tristana does that in solo queue all the time, but doing it in this game, showing the killer instinct when it matters for BBQ. Remember, they are right now 9th. They are right now playing in relegations. They want to get out of the spot they find themselves in. They went for the Baron. FLICKR is still irrelevant in terms of damage. They want to keep fighting and break the base on their first Baron. There's the Baron as well. How are they going to get to it with Cassio and FLICKR on the Kassadin? It's going to be tricky.
Yeah, well, they're just going to grab FLICKR. Nice double knock-up, but Riftwalk is going to get FLICKR out of the way. Wolf getting a lot of money's worth for his Unbreakable, but it's not going to be enough. Ghost, 3 items, so much damage, and Crazy comes in and says, you wanted an Ornn? I guess they didn't really mind because the tower's still going to fall down.
It's
looking to break the base.
Ever. They can't do anything against it at all.
28 minutes in goes Ignar. They still want to fight. This Tal comes out with a Seraph's Embrace. Used the ultimate there as well, just didn't find anyone. Battle Dance gets Ignar out. He doesn't even need his partner in crime in the Xayah. Still had enough range to survive it, and they destroy the Baron inhibitor as well. 23 seconds on the next Cloud Drake. We'll make it 3 dragons here for BBQ.
They just have nothing right now. They have 2.5 items on the Caitlyn. Again, Kassadin has gone full scaling. When it comes to power now, they don't have it. So BBQ bring every minion wave, have a massive Baron buff power play, and all SKT can hope is the game doesn't end before their power spikes are actually there.
Yeah, and it's turned into a 7,000 gold lead. We haven't been talking about gold that much in this series, because honestly, it feels like it doesn't quite matter. Last game, SKT were able to do ridiculous things regardless of the gold. This game, BBQ looking like they really are starting to get these relevant item leads, get themselves into ridiculous positions. And we had a lot of question marks. I mean, Tristana Rakan should have hard lost that lane.
Definitely was your first thought. And the move away from the Thresh really reined in Bang. He didn't have any pathing from Blank. Obviously trickier for him to affect a lane. Didn't want to dive the turret. They weren't able to actually double down around the Caitlyn, and Caitlyn just feels like any other AD carry with how the laning phase had gone. Now the Bandit is back, now they're pushing up. BBQ are 2 picks away from maybe just ending the game.
Yeah, and they've got so many pick options as well as Ignar. We know he smells blood at all times.
Unbreakable downs. They could also use the Ornn ultimate freely for the next 5 or 6 seconds.
Yep, get their way through, and they hear you, Papa Smithy. They are going to throw it back. It's going to knock up Bang, but they just want to buy time, and they don't need very much of that at all. Base broken 2 places with the first Baron, 30 minutes into the game, and BBQ have a huge lead.
It's just great calling, on-the-fly decisions from BBQ that hurt them a couple times in the previous game are basically always riding high. This is when you got the aces, the pocket aces up your sleeve, Atlas, because they know that Archangels are still getting there. They know the power drop is still there for Bang as well, and because both the carries aren't ready to go, BBQ, they're super ready to go.
Yeah, it feels like the Ignar effect here coming in against SKT. He's been starting up all of these fights. Well, not all of them, but a lot of them. Certainly doing great work. You can understand why he was given the Rakan. Just a more mobile Alistar. He doesn't mind if it's easy to kill him because he just needs that one initiation. Now he gets that work done, and they might even be able to break the mid lane inhibitor turret if they can give Ghost another couple of auto attacks.
One more minion wave, the Baron's worn off, but no one's told BBQ they're still rolling in on the same passage of play. They have crashed through an insane amount of turrets. Looking at the gold lead basically everywhere. Only the Sightstone GP10 item, the Eye of the Watchers, is allowing Cassiopeia to be ahead, but irrelevant when we haven't seen value. Where's the Flash Cassio ultimate? There's no Flash, so unfortunately the Cassio so far has just been fodder in the middle of a fight.
Yeah, just a non-factor. And Ghost, he's ahead 2,000 gold, but behind 50 CS. It's an interesting situation to be in because he's been grouping, he's been fighting with his team. Bang's been off to the side, killing creeps. As FLICKR has found Ignar, but Ignar just doesn't care.
Bannon in the bot side. FLICKR can't answer that one. It's just a siege minion.
Yep.
A ranged minion, I should say. And there's the 3rd inhibitor turret broken.
Can't put Banner on super creeps, which is why we see these mega melees.
Yep.
Just fighting on in.
But that means FLICKR's not there, so you walk up, you get a couple of shots, you back away. Not sure where the gold is at in terms of unspent gold, but maybe BBQ need to take the shopping trip soon. I'd say they've done enough in this one push.
Yeah, I'd say this is a Baron power play that you can be pretty proud of.
Nope, they just use a redemption, they walk up again. There's a Sun turret. They really want this 3rd inhibitor to really jam it to SKT.
Yep, trap line, not too full, static shiv. Recognizable damage here onto SKT because Ghost, he's got so many items. Smite comes down blank, showing the desperation. This trick, this is a Skarner that's actually able to tank things up.
But it's so early in the game, Atlas. The items aren't there.
Okay.
Decent little chunk. They finally back away. Going to be a huge purse for every member of BBQ, especially the Tristana. 2,300 gold, if you don't mind.
Yep.
He wants a straight-up item here.
Close to 24, so we'll see what he is actually going to go back and grab. It's going to be a Brambleback first.
Going to be a Bloodthirster as his next item.
Yeah, I think he's pretty close to being able to just grab it as well. Okay, Crazy's going to build his own. He's not too worried about that. Gargoyle Stoneplate comes in, and there's the Bloodthirster. Ghost is feeling brilliant this game. Ignar's got the Ghost as well. Baron, up in 20 seconds.
Tricky to get to. Cassiopeia needs to be bot lane. They need flank wards. They don't have. They don't have vision in the area either. Olaf can pull off the Miracle Steal, but so far BBQ have been good at catching the Olaf. Speaking of...
Yep, Flank is going to get knocked up. Oh, the double knockup comes in, but Ragnarok just in time. Player of CC was almost there as Trick flashes forward, but Wolf has himself the QSS actually already picked up. Faker thinks there's enough cooldowns down, but there aren't actually any. He can't get the damage done that he needs to. Hasn't scaled quite yet to get any assassination, and Tempt lives.
They seem like they're surprised by the
Ignar.
QSS onto the Braum. Ignar's here!
Flanking! Grand Entrance doesn't do it, but the quickness is going to bring Tal over. He flashes out. Seraph's Embrace a little bit early. And Redemption. BBQ looking for the turnaround. Crazy. That actually means a lot given his amount of magic resist.
Ignar missed it all, and all of the inhibitors have respawned apart from top, which is pushing in. We're still at a very tense point.
A lot of vision available for BBQ, and once again, SKT will have to face check. They're going to run out of these control wards. BBQ playing patiently. Trick deciding that patient is not the aim of the game for BBQ today.
Some big ults are down. This is not patient play. They need to turn off this. Here comes the TP.
Yep, they're going to get Tiles TP, and they're going to get it for free as well. BBQ able to disengage. Now just moving over towards the top side. They think that they've got the inside track to the base. Okay, Ward is going to pop over. Tempest wants to grab a blue buff. They're playing the do-si-do. This is just a fight for positioning to start this off.
Back and forth, back and forth. Only Kassadin can ignore.
Oh, the Predator's there. Wants to try and find the Impale. Did at least have the pulse. Strick, you have to be a little bit careful, buddy.
Now in the back line, but this time is sighted, clearing a control ward. Ragnarok still available. Glacial Fissure almost off cooldown. We could have 10 ultimates and should have it before the next fight.
Ghost on cooldown for Ignar as well as his flash, but the quickness is back up. And look at this guy go. Just hacking down that inhibitor.
He has so much attack speed.
Yeah.
He's going to get it too. Oh,
Yeah.
he got distracted.
No.
He got really distracted.
No. He needs to do the loop. He's trying to dodge out of the miasma. Oh.
He's just not a man with a plan, it seems like.
Well, I mean, Tal, what is he going to do? Have an evil conversation with it? It's not like he can hurt the guy.
Well, it doesn't kill the inhibitor, and that's the bigger problem for the side of BBQ. So a humorous moment, but pretty pivotal that inhibitor doesn't go down. Means they have 3 inhibitors up. They can play outside the base more than you'd expect when all 3 of their inhibitors have been down this game. SKT still with life, only 6,000 gold behind. The game is still not over.
Yep. I'm going to call that guy Jack Nicholson. That's the melee minion. That's my favorite one. BBQ is going to set themselves up once again. They do have control of the vision around the Baron buff, but Trick, control wards everywhere, so any extra... Okay, blank. Couple more autos and he's just dead, and Ghost is going to be able to pick that one up. The Q from Tempt was enough to help out, and that is just unacceptable. That's the jungler dead. A Baron now going to go once again over to BBQ, and there are open inhibitors. What does SKT do 4v5 against this comp?
He may not be Brolaf, but he was a bro in that one. Unfortunately for the enemy team, he gets caught. They're going for more. They want to close the game with this.
Yep, Call of the Forge God can get eaten by the Unbreakable, but they just wanted to kill the Braum. Trick jumps his way forward. They find Kassadin. Grand entrance for the follow-up. See you later. And there it is. They just deliver all of the damage from the magic damage dealers into the backline, and they just snap it up. 10-1 in kills, and BBQ look brilliant this game. Ghost may not actually want that 1v1, but he's going to have a redemption. He's going to be able to take down all of these inhibitors.
Waiting for the minion wave to come. The inhibitors will go down. The game should end. It's 30 seconds onto FLICKR. Ghost starts to get chunked out. Needs to lifesteal off the wave.
Bloodthirster's in, though. He's just going to have no worries getting himself healthy again.
Here comes the minion wave. Here comes the ban, and here comes a loss for SKT. Unless we see one hell of a super play, Olaf is back up.
Yep, Olaf is going to come back in, but the solo laners aren't here, and look at the damage to these Nexus turrets. The first one died in an instant, the second one going to follow suit. The Olaf is going to follow even faster as Wolf with the Unbreakable. It doesn't matter, you can't defend. You're dead Nexus now as BBQ upset SKT in one of our longest nights we've had so far.
A massive upset by BBQ Olivers, and the effect it has on the season for both is palpable. SK Telecom T1 are now still a match behind Rox Tigers with 3 to play. Both of them play KSV. Maybe SKT want to have the biggest heist to make it to playoffs. They could try to beat KSV and hope KSV can take down the team of BBQ, but you see Wolf head in hands because he understands that suddenly it's not in the control wholly of SK Telecom T1. Suddenly they need results to go their way. And this season that has gone so far off book for SKT, the hype train is off the rails, and there's not really much else to say. They need things to go their way, and SKT's squad, when you think about how much they had to toil to beat BBQ, even if they pull off the majesty of stealing a playoff spot, that grand final in Busan on the 14th of April is looking so far away.
Yeah, being a match behind Rox is just so devastating. Now for SKT, the difference is between an MVP versus a Jin Air Green Wings. And if you can't take down BBQ, it's just going to be an awful time. Rox Tigers looking to actually make their way back in. You remember, they stole that match off KT. Certainly wasn't something that SKT could do.
So hard to watch some of these players. Very emotionally affected because, of course, it went so long. Game ends after midnight, 20 minutes past midnight local time in Korea. Wolf being consoled by his team, the BBQ players smiling, but they also know they've been through a war, and their war is not over. They still have to fight. They still are not clear of their relegation spots. They'll feel good about beating SKT on the day, but it feels like we watched the first part of an epic because there's still sequels for both these teams to be followed before we truly know what this result tonight means.
Yeah. And all the games that we saw tonight were super interesting. We haven't seen a lot of what has been happening today throughout 8.4. It's like everything took a turn for the weird on what was second last week, first day at OGN. I seem to have some sort of blessing. I can give you guys the most League of Legends ever, almost consistently.
And this is the fans at home. See how frustrated Blank is on your screen. He knows the fans will have plenty to say about him, but it was a team effort to go through the problems that SKT have, a squad effort. They've had so many different combinations of players, and none of them have hit big. But it's starting to hit the players where they are at. SK Telecom is looking outsiders to make top 5 after being the second place team in the world at the World Championships in Beijing in front of the biggest crowd that has ever been there for a League of Legends event. Everyone is decimated on their side, understandably. Whereas for BBQ, a super hard-fought victory. They have beaten Kingzone Dragon X and SKT in the same season. Big carry performance from Ghost in this game. But it's what it all means and what it means in terms of the standings. This is the regular season through and through. This is the business end of the season through and through. This just has such big ripples around the Rift.
Yeah, the implications is something that you just struggle to really get into your mind, and we will be working it out.
What do we say about building up damage? FLICKR could just never do damage this game. He never got there because the game around him was lost. Stana and the Rakan, one lane, pretty damn hard. The Olaf was never able to invade.
And where was the split push opportunity for that Kassadin anyway?
Nowhere.
He was up against a pretty much 2.5 magic resist item on that he couldn't touch.
And this was the Cassiopeia blind pick that Tal had been preparing, but when it came, that jump up from solo queue to 5v5 professional play, it didn't work. Congratulations, Ghost, a player who's been criticized. First MVP of the season, a young player who's now getting into his stride 2 years into his career. Had a career-defining performance tonight.
Yeah, brilliant stuff. Solo killing, bang off to the side, really was a highlight play. He's going to join Crazy as the two MVPs for BBQ. Crazy having such a brilliant night. The initiation prowess of Ignar as well is something that we really need to be proud of, and you can see it happening right here. Sad that we don't get another look at that first blood as well, with the Kassadin being delivered to the Skarner. So many cool plays from BBQ tonight.
Understandably, all the talk afterwards will be about SKT. They have the fan base. They're the team that has the most eyes on them in the world. But you're right, BBQ's storyline, they're trying to desperately avoid relegation, doing it through victories over Kingzone and SKT of all teams, and SKT also in the biggest scalps for BBQ to pick up. They haven't been able to do it against the teams around their level, though. That's been BBQ's problem, is they've lost to a lot of those low-placed teams. So for them to have a team performance to get up against SKT and play out of their minds, the best BBQ performance by far on the season, even better than the Kingzone series that was weird and wonderful, is really important to highlight for BBQ. Trick and Ignar did not come to Korea to be relegated on their return from the EU LCS. That time the Cassia ult hit, but didn't matter. Congratulations, BBQ. And we get to hear from Ghost as well.
Yeah, it's the kind of coordinated play that we haven't seen from BBQ and is brilliant, but we are going to throw it over to Joel to have our last MVP interview of this very late night.
Thank you very much, guys. This is Joel with your last interview translation for the night, and we're here with BBQ. A very, very important win over SK Telecom, and after a long run, we're going to have an interview with the MVPs and also the coach. Crazy, an absolute marathon of a game today. And right now, the top has been strong. How do you feel? A loss for us today would have been a very difficult situation for all of us also. I think it's for both of these teams that fought today that really needs to step up to the next level.
네네.
Ghost, it's been a struggle throughout the series, but how do you feel on getting the MVP?
너무 오랜만에 받아가지고 좀
It's been
낯설고요.
such a long time, really, since I got the MVP.
네.
플레이하셨잖아요.
네네.
I mean, you went with the Tristana in both ways with the both ADCs, and
트리스타나 트탑니까 트립니까?
we want to ask again: is it a tree or tuta?
지난번 룰러
I also call it tuta for your reference.
감독님이 지금 피식하셨어요.
네.
The coach was laughing at you as you said that, so
지켜보고 계신데
지금 그만큼 혈전이었거든요.
네, 감독님
it really was a back and forth action. Just all the jokes aside, and
경기 결과 어떻게
it really, how'd you see the result once it did end?
굉장히 잘한 것 같은데 이 세트는
I think games 1 and 3 we were very successful in what we were trying to do, but game 2 was,
승리로 마무리 짓게 되어서 다행이에요.
you know, I was glad that, you know, we got the victory, but I think we needed to improve a lot on the missing aspects of things.
오늘 어떤 마음가짐으로 오셨어요?
What mindset did you have in coming to today's series?
만약 오늘 졌으면은
I mean, if we did lose today and relegation was definitely becoming a reality for us, and we knew that that was kind of the case that we wanted to always think about as we played all the games
트레
today.
선수 뭐 감독님 이 정도까지 지금 생각하고 계신
우신 것 같아요.
네.
Crazy, you know, you were
알고 있었어요.
listening to all of this, but how'd you feel about this current situation?
온도 차이가 지금 이쪽하고 감독님하니까 온도 차이가 워낙 잘해서 크레이 선수는 오늘
Of course, Crazy, you did very well, especially in game 1 where you did absolutely dominate up in the top lane. Did you feel like the victory was on your way?
그냥 라인전 해보고 좀 자신감 좀 있긴
I
했어요.
think the laning phase, the more I did it, it just got the more confidence that got me in a higher position as the games went on.
본인도 같이 좀 어필을 하나요? 그런 점에.
Do you feel like you have a lot of picks potential when it comes to kind of wanting certain picks with the champions? Yeah, I try to make sure I practice multiple champions so that I'll be flexible with the coaches coming up.
그런 느낌이 듭니다. 1세트 사실 운영도 운영이고 라인
Coming into game 1, and macro was important, but laning was more important as well, and it felt like that. And the macro play coming from BBQ was really good overall, especially in the first 2 games.
한두 가지 잔실수 빼고는
I think just minor mistakes here and there, but otherwise it was a really good macro play for us.
용 같은 게 좀 아쉬웠고요.
I think we could have gotten a little more aggressive on the objectives, and I think that would have helped us in the long run, but
거 약간 한두 번.
it definitely wasn't perfect by any means, but something we were pretty satisfied about.
굉장히 잘하셨는데 어쨌든 그동안에 여러 가지
And of course, Ghost, you did very well today, but you know, you did have a lot of criticism that did come your way throughout the season. But what did you think was the most important part in getting the success that you really put out today?
플레이에서요?
예, 그러니까 뭐를 가장 이제 중점적으로 생각하시고 플레이하셨어요?
일단 요새 너무 좀 위축되게 게임.
I think I was put on a lot of pressure,
어차피 이길 거 없으니까 그냥
but you know, when the pressure is so heavy, you just kind of lose all the responsibility and feel like you're lightweighted in some way, and you just can play freely as you want. And
잘 되는 것 같아요.
when you kind of just take that off your mindset, it just allows you to play a little more comfortably.
일단 뭐 카밀의 또 활약상은 저희가 안 볼 수 없잖아요.
We have to look at some of the plays that came from Crazy with the Camille.
이 장면 되게
This was very, very significant.
같이 이렇게 묶어놓는데 이럴 때 한 몸처럼
And it really was the situation where he could have went away, but caught him right at the end.
고스 선수 뭐 기억나는 거 있으세요?
Ghost, do you remember this situation?
아지르 소리 지르면서 다 뛰었던.
We were just focused on Azir the whole time. We were just screaming Azir, Azir as we went on to try to kill a faker.
생각 안 날 수도 있어요. 다 있고 마치 3세트가 첫 세트인 것처럼 그렇게 이제 플레이를 했는데 2세트도 사실
And let's go on to game 2. There's another highlight.
약간 역전패한 느낌.
And it was a really kind of a comeback win for the other team, more likely than not.
같은 경우는
너무 멍해서
I mean, I'm just kind of so lightheaded right now after all that back and forth action.
이 세트 기억은 나는데.
I think I have some memories of game 2, but
어쩌다가 역전 나왔는지 기억이 안 나.
but I don't remember what caused kind of the throw essentially. So,
감독님 혹시 2세트 때
Coach, do you remember how that happened in game 2 when you guys kind of gave up the lead?
뭐라고 한 것 같긴 한데.
Yeah, I think they did something, but I don't remember exactly.
어제의 기억은 없어요. 12시 지나고 어제의 기억은 다 있고.
They don't have any memories before the day before, so you know, heading on to the next day, they kind of reset their memory. But let's go back to the game where you guys were very, very aggressive in most of these picks, and But with the Ornn, that was the kind of the center of where it all changed.
예.
좀 CC 부족한 것만 메꿔주고 하면
I think it was important that our composition lacked CC in most areas, so getting more of that was really important for us. What was kind of your mindset when you saw the Cassiopeia countering you?
리스크가 있으니까
I knew that, I kind of see the reason why they picked the Cassiopeia, but I knew there was a real risk if things went wrong for them, so we trying to exploit that as much as possible.
별로 압박이 있거나 그러지 않았어요.
But I didn't feel a lot of pressure in the end with that pick in particular.
그 주인공보다 뭐 CC 역할, 뭐 이런 서포터적인 역할 그런 것들을 좀 보여준다 이런 얘기를 하셨는데.
그리고 고스트 선수한테도
And with Ghost, also that's something that's we're curious.
선입견 아닌 선입견이 있는데.
And we do see that, Rakan really wants to be played by Ignar, but kind of just see that, being with the Xayah is kind of the common knowledge that you have to play with that champion. We try to go with these supports that Ignar feels very comfortable in, because I know he likes to just fly around and make a lot of plays, and we depend on that. So we allow him to get something that he's comfortable with, and we try to fit in our pieces after that. Let's look at some of the highlights with what Ghost has done in the winning plays that led to the victory at the end. And that was K-Team was way alone over there, and I knew that his teammates were nowhere around, so I knew as soon as I jumped forward, I knew I got the kill right at the end. Just disregard of this situation, there was so many plays that Ghost specifically made that made all these aggressive plays happen. I think just having a good performance like this did help me with my confidence, and I think it will allow me to play a little more confident from here on. And did you know that Azir lost all his games previously with the Azir? What was the kind of the reason that you guys still went on with it? He used the Azir very much during practices, and it only kind of had the negative impulses only during competitive plays. So we still had trust in him, that faith that he can still play well with it. But we still say that internally that Azir is a very strong pick that we just cannot ignore and throw away. But I think if he can just keep it back on track, I think he can still have many good games with it. Of course, that was the reason why Tent was able to pick up the win with the Azir. And also, this coach here was kind of the famous one for reaching out to Ignar and Trick and essentially bringing them into this organization. But how do you feel about the players now? Are you satisfied with how they are now? We actually went all the way down to Gwangju in the southernmost part of the country just to meet Ignar. And it was like 6 p.m. at night, and I had to. It was a kind of the intention of going to see Ignar, but while at the same time I got in contact with Trick as well. So. And kind of things went well, and we got him in our car and just drive back to Seoul, and that was a happy moment from there. Of course, you guys did get the win, but you still have a couple of games to go that are important for you guys to pick up the win, so that you guys will relieve yourselves of the relegation. But winning today's game gives us hope and gives us a future that we can kind of push forward towards. Ghost, you did receive an MVP. Anything you'd like to say for the upcoming matches? I want to say something. I want to tell all the fans that even cheered us on through the off-season even. And I never got a chance to really tell them thank you for all the support they always show. So that's kind of what he's trying to put at the end. So a lot of emotional stir that did go over with Ghost. But with Coach, anything you'd like to add on to what the two players said? Along with the fans, I want to thank all the players who have put up a really good performance. didn't get the win, and we thank the fans for cheering us on even through these late hours.
네. 그만큼 값진 승리 가져간
That will be
앞으로도
concluding our valuable win towards BBQ Oliver as they do pick up the very much needed win, and we're going to send it off to you guys.
Thank you very much, Joel. This time, the final MVP interview of the night. We are going to check out the results of today. It was an extraordinarily long one. Thank you so much for sticking there with us.
Shout out to the 40-odd BBQ fans who stayed till 12:40 a.m. to cheer on their players through the interview. You guys are the real MVPs. Congratulations to BBQ Olivers. Because of that win, SKT now actually have KT Rolster guaranteed to be top 5, because game score-wise and match score-wise, SKT can't make it to 10 wins anymore. Their maximum is 9. They're still gunning for that 5th spot, but it gets a lot harder, Atlas, after that loss. Again, they need Rocks Tigers to lose, and they have Kongdu Monster and Jin Air to play. Both of them play KSV. That could be interesting to see if KSV can do a favor for SKT, but right now, things are looking rough. SKT down, now to 7.
Yeah, and Jin Air Green Wings, I mean, they're still in with a shot as well. They're all tied for 6 and 9. Absolutely ludicrous to think that MVP, after the 10-game losing streak to start the season, are even with Jin Air and SKT.
Game score still gonna probably be the reason that MVP can't go through, but their matches are also very tricky. But what a weird top 5 we've got going on here. KSV only recently firming as top 5. Rocks gatekeeping away teams like SKT. The weird and wonderful turns to the instant PogChamp tomorrow as Jin Air Green Wings take on FLICKR. First time we're seeing the FLICKR this week, and first time we're seeing KT, and what could be a preview of our grand final, Kingzone Dragon X against KT Rolster.
And you're going to hope that it goes better than it did in the first round robin, because Kingzone Dragon X destroyed KT Rolster in the first showing. It was not even a little bit close.
The famous Paul Chalonnet Brutal Savage Wrecked was, the game 1 especially was just a obliteration, but we'll focus on tomorrow. Today, it's been a very interesting day. Kongdu Monster couldn't pick up their first match win. They went down. SKT, the playoff race got harder.
Yeah, just absolutely ridiculous stuff. But guys, we are going to be back tomorrow night as well. Thank you so much for sticking through so much League of Legends. Man, it has been one hell of a roller coaster, but tomorrow it continues. We've got the KT Rolster match versus Kingzone. It's going to be nuts. I hope to see you guys there.
We sing